If you're crouched down right now, calm voice, naming the feelings, gently reasoning with your toddler in the middle of a meltdown, I need to tell you something. You're trying to negotiate with a brain that physically can't negotiate yet. The part that handles logic and self-control won't finish building for another 20 years. So every time you explain feelings to a screaming 2-year-old and nothing happens, you are not failing at gentle parenting. You're attempting something no ancient parent would ever have tried. So what did they do instead? Let's start with the part nobody tells you. Gentle parenting is not a new trend. It might be the oldest kind of parenting on Earth. For most of human history, we're talking 200,000 years. Children were raised without spanking, without yelling, without a single timeout. Anthropologists who study modern hunter-gatherer societies keep finding the same thing. Corporal punishment is rare, sometimes almost non-existent. Kids are treated with a patience that would make a parenting influencer weep. Peter Gray, a research psychologist at Boston College, spent years documenting this. Hunter-gatherer adults, he found, granted children an almost unimaginable amount of freedom and almost never used force. And here's why. In a small band that survives on cooperation, you don't actually want obedient children, you want capable ones. Kids who can think, share, read a room, and steady themselves, because one day the whole group's survival will lean on it. Obedience training is what you do when you need workers. Our ancestors weren't raising workers, they were raising partners. So if gentleness is written that deep into us, why does it fall apart the second you try it on a Tuesday night? Here's the uncomfortable answer. You're doing the right thing in the wrong language. Think about what modern gentle parenting actually asks of you. Stay calm, get down to their level, explain the feeling, talk them through it. It is all words. And words are the one thing a young child's brain cannot use in that moment. The prefrontal cortex, the part that runs reasoning, impulse control, and calming yourself down, is the last piece of the human brain to mature. It isn't finished until your mid-20s. In a 2-year-old, it's barely a rough draft. So when your toddler is face down on the kitchen floor, the thinking part of their brain has effectively stepped out of the room. There's no one home to reason with. That's why the calm explanation just bounces off. You're handing a beautifully worded argument to a brain that can't read it yet. And here's the part that should let you off the hook a little. A child that age was never supposed to calm themselves down. For almost all of human history, they didn't. An adult did it for them. Not with a speech, but with their own body, their own steadiness, their presence. Scientists call it co-regulation, but if it isn't words, then what did it actually look like? To see it, we have to go to a snow house. In 1963, a young anthropologist named Jean Briggs moved in with an Inuit family in the Canadian Arctic. She lived with them for 17 months through the dark and the cold, treated as an adopted daughter, and she noticed something that stunned her. In all that time, she almost never saw an adult get angry at a child. No shouting, no spanking, no use your words. And yet these children grew into some of the most patient, self-controlled people she had ever met. So how? They didn't lecture, they played. When a child hit someone, an Inuit mother wouldn't crouch down and explain why hitting is wrong. She'd wait until everyone was calm, and then turn it into a little drama. "Why don't you hit me?" she'd say, playfully, offering herself. The child, confused, might give a small smack. "Ow, that hurts," the mother would cry, acting it out. "Do you like hurting me?" And slowly, through a game, not a scolding, the child felt their way to the answer themselves. Briggs called these dramas. Stories, teasing, play acting, questions with no clean answer. Emotional lessons delivered not in the heat of the tantrum, but later, wrapped in play once the thinking brain was finally back in the room. That was the technique. That is what they resorted to. Not calm words in the storm, but play after it, which means both sides of our modern shouting match are half right. The people defending gentle parenting are correct that gentleness is ancient. It really is how humans raised humans for 200,000 years. But the critics who say the modern version breeds chaos aren't crazy either. Because somewhere along the way we kept the calm voice and threw away the technique. We took the single hardest moment, the meltdown, and decided that's when the teaching happens, through reason. Our ancestors would have found that baffling. They taught in the playing, not in the crisis. So it's 7 p.m. again. Your toddler is on the floor, and you're crouched there, doing your best with a calm voice that doesn't seem to be working. Here's what I want you to know. You are not bad at this. You are not failing some modern test of patience. You're carrying an instinct that is 200,000 years old. You were just handed half the instructions. The other half was never a script. It was a game saved for later. And no ancient parent ever got it right on the kitchen floor either. If this reframed something for you, stick around. There's more where this came from.